The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
And a good Thursday morning to everybody. Welcome to the show. Senior producer Ryan Nicholson in charge of things this morning. Guarantee Bank Hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Taylor text 304-935-5008. We're in the Jarrett Construction Studios, right on time, right on budget. Visit jarrett-construction.com. License number WV030133. Phone calls to the show. Service of Guarantee Bank, 1320 Kanawha Boulevard East. Guarantee Bank, your community, your bank, your story. Texting services provided by West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony the Tailor. The end of bolt sale continues through the 29th. You can save up to 50% on select jackets and suits, and Tony's Black Label make custom garments, a variety of fabrics available. Tony also with custom shirts from actual tailors. Buy 3, get 1 free, or buy 4 and get 2 free, including Thomas Mason fabrics. And ask about the Samuelson end of bolt sale too. Take as much as 25 to 30% off. Check out bestmastertailor.com or Tony's Facebook page for more information. We are one step closer to the weekend. Metro News meteorologist Brian Hughes says we remain in the bake today. Mid-90s for a high, upper 90s with a heat index. Some fog around tonight. The low, that is, in the mid-70s, mid to upper 90s for your Friday, heat index near 100. Have some storms possible for the weekend, heavy rain possible with those, but it may cool us down a little bit as we head into next week. Download the Metro News television app for Brian Hughes and his team of meteorologists for the best in weather forecasting, and follow along on social media as well. Kanawha County Commission President Ben Salango standing by. We'll get to him momentarily. Questions, comments, concerns, open line with the commish. Also, a little bit later on, we're going to talk about Art Walk, which is happening tonight in Charleston. Joel Bennett and our own Bobbie Spry will be here to talk about that. Plus, your calls and texts. Guarantee Bank Hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Taylor text 304-935-5008. Welcome to the show now, Kanawha County Commission President Ben Salango. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
Thank you for being here. You had a good summer so far?
I have. It's the heat has been incredible, especially around the 4th of July holiday, but
blame Brian Hughes.
Yeah, it is Brian's fault. He knows that. Yeah, no, it's been a great summer.
Yeah. So we talked about this yesterday. We talked about it several times. We have an opening now in the Kanawha County Commission following Lance Wheeler's resignation to take over the director's job with the Ambulance Service Authority here in Kanawha County. Someone will need to fill the remainder of Lance's term, and you and Commissioner Natalie Tennant are tasked with finding that person. We've been telling you that 6 people applied. Yesterday I talked with one of those people on the show, Jared Page. He, of course, won the Republican nomination for the next term, and we will remind folks that Lance had said he was not going to run for re-election even before he took this job. He was a candidate for state senate, and he will be on the ballot for state senate come November in the general elections. So this position, Ben, is to fill out the remainder of Lance Wheeler's term.
Yeah, basically 6 months.
All right,
or 5 months. This is the 4th time I've been involved in a vacancy at either the county commission or one of our elected officers within the county. The first time was in 2017 when Dave Hardy left the county commission and went up to be revenue secretary for Governor Justice. And now, of course, Dave Hardy's a circuit judge. And that's when I applied. There were 12 other people that applied. They picked me. Still don't know why they picked me, but they did. And then fast forward when Commissioner Carper resigned in 2024, right before the primary, Natalie Tennant was elected she was selected by the Democrats in the primary. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we had to fill that spot. And I want to come back to that because that's important. And then, of course, when, our longtime beloved prosecutor Chuck Miller retired, Deb Rusnick was the Republican nominee. Lance and I voted for Deb to take over as the interim prosecutor, and she went on to win the election in November. So this is the 4th time that's happened in the last 10 years. If you go back to 2024, and I was on the show, I went back and listened to the episode from May of 2024 when I came on. It was right after the primary, and I said then, and I'll say now, but back when Natalie Tennant won the Democratic nomination for county commission in the primary, I said, and she applied, of course, to fill the vacancy. Yeah. I said Natalie is the logical choice. That's who the Democratic voters selected. That's who we should appoint. But I needed another vote, right? So there's a reason why in most public bodies, county commissions, Supreme Court, that there are odd numbers, right? So that you'll never have a tie. But if you have a county commission that only has 2 in it because of a vacancy, you have to reach a unanimous agreement. Otherwise, it doesn't move forward. So, just like I said back in 2024 that Natalie was the logical choice. Unfortunately, I could not secure the votes to make that happen, although I tried very hard. Just like I said after the Republican primary when Chuck Miller retired and Deb Rusnick was the nominee, and we did reach an agreement and appointed Deb Rusnick to fill the interim spot, and she's been a wonderful prosecutor. I'll say it again, Jared Page is the logical choice. That's who the Republican voters selected, and that's who I think should fill the spot. Now, Natalie Tennant and I will meet and have a discussion. We'll look at all the applicants and come to hopefully an agreement. And if not, then it will go to a system that, quite frankly, to my knowledge, has not been used, at least in Kanawha County, and that's the strike system. So in that instance, if Commissioner Tennant and I can't agree on a candidate, and by the way, if you go back to 2024, Lance and I did not agree on Natalie Tennant. And so the commission had been through a lot at that point when Commissioner Carper resigned. I mean, there was a lot going on, and quite frankly, we needed stability. And I remember, because I listened to the episode the other day, and I talked about how we need stability. We've been through a bunch. The commission staff, it's been tough on them, and hopefully we could vote for Natalie. That didn't happen. I didn't want to go to the strike system at that point, because if we did, and if Commissioner Wheeler had struck Natalie Tennant, then I would have no idea who was going to fill out the unexpired term. It was basically whoever was left after 2 strikes. Mm-hmm. So the executive committee, the county executive committee, would submit 3 names. I strike first because I have seniority on the commission, and then whoever's next would strike, and then whoever's left is the county commissioner. I didn't want to put the county commission through that in 2024. So that's why when Lance and I couldn't reach an agreement initially, it ended up being Mark Slotnick, because I didn't want to go through the strike system. And Mark had been with the county for 3 decades, knows the position well. He's a lawyer. He's incredibly intelligent and did a great job serving as the interim commissioner. So here we are, in 2026, and it happens again. Commissioner Wheeler went on to take the Kanawha County Emergency Ambulance Authority job, and now we have to select somebody. So I will remain consistent. My position is the Republican voters have spoken. I think we need to honor that, and I think Jared Page needs to be selected, but I need another vote.
What would you say, though, to those that make the argument that, look, if somebody is on the ballot, mm-hmm. that it gives them an unfair advantage?
I would ask him to look at history. Both Tom Ewing and Gerald Titus, Supreme Court justices, were appointed by Patrick Morrissey, and they both lost in the election. Senator Bartlett was appointed by Patrick Morrissey, and Lance Wheeler beat him in the primary. If you go back and look at people who actually get appointments, a lot of them lose. So I don't think it is an unfair advantage to that person. Go back to 2018, then Governor Justice appointed Dan Greer. Dan's a good friend of mine, but my wife had already filed to run, and she won that election. So the appointment, to me, is not a political advantage. In fact, statistically, I suspect if you go back and track it, it's been a disadvantage. Because I think a lot of times if they get the appointment, they're actually working. For instance, you go back to 2018, Dan Greer's appointed circuit judge, and all of a sudden he inherits a 1,000-case docket. I mean, the guy couldn't even leave the office, and my wife's out knocking doors and meeting people and campaigning, and it's actually an advantage to not get the appointment, because then you can actually go out and campaign.
But it gives you, and then with all due respect to the people that have submitted their names, it gives them more time to screw up and to make somebody mad about something.
Well, and that's true,
maybe
too.
I shouldn't have said screw up. Maybe I should anger someone, before you get in office. Because, when you're on a county commission or any elected body, you are going to make someone upset about something. So
Right.
it gives them an opportunity to do that. Not that they would, but they might.
I actually had compiled a list of those candidates who received either an appointment from the county or an appointment from the governor's office, and how many of them actually win the election. And it's a difficult task. I don't think people really pick up on the fact that there's an interim appointment, and I don't think it gives you an advantage at all. And I think statistically and certainly historically that would play out if you looked at it.
So July 23rd, that's the commission date, right? That's
Yes.
the next meeting, and so you and Commissioner Tennant at that point will try to come to a decision.
Yes, that's the goal. Hopefully we can reach a decision. She and I will talk before then. Hopefully the day before we'll look at the applicants again. There were, I think, 6 total. One is not qualified. It has to be a Republican. It has to be from magisterial districts 3 and 4. We had one person apply that wasn't a registered Republican and lived in the wrong district. So double whammy on that one. And then we had 5, I think, apply that actually were constitutionally qualified. So one of them, of course, is George Metz, who lost the election to Jared Page in the Republican primary. So that would be a hard sell, I think, to then pick him to be the commissioner, even though he lost. I think the Republican voters would scratch their heads. I know the Republican Executive Committee would scratch their heads. And Jared submitted an application where, Jared has some government experience. He's the vice mayor of St. Albans. He was the municipal judge in St. Albans. He submitted an application with probably 20 plus letters of recommendation, including the Republican Executive Committee, including the State Republican Party, including numerous elected officials of both parties, Democrats and Republicans. So that carries weight. When you've got not only did the Republican voters choose him, but you've got elected officials all over the county, including most mayors in Kanawha County have submitted letters saying, we know Jared. He's on the board of directors of Municipal League, and we think he'd be a great candidate. So that carries a lot of weight with me.
You hopeful that you and Commissioner Tennant will be able to come to an agreement?
I hope so. And if we meet and she points out some things that I have not thought of, maybe I'll change my mind on where I am. But that would break precedent for me.
Well, and I do want to make it clear that, and I said this yesterday, but in the interest of fairness, Mr. Page had reached out to me about coming on the show, and any of the other ones that want to come on, all you got to do is, call the front desk, email me, whatever, and I'll give them an opportunity to speak to.
Yep.
I didn't want people to think I was giving him preference. He simply asked,
Right.
Sometimes that's the way it works, but anybody else can ask to be on the show.
Sometimes you just surprise yourself. All you got to do is ask.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when you ask. We're talking to Kanawha County Commission President Ben Salango. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by the Charleston Dirty Birds. Birds are on the road this week. They're back at Go Ballpark next Tuesday night to begin a series against the Ghost Peppers of Gastonia. Check out dirtybirdsbaseball.com. More with Commissioner Salango coming up. And by the way, if you got a question, comment, concern for Commissioner Salango, he's here. He'll take it. Guarantee Bank Hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text, 304-935-5008. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses care for your family.
What if the market drops after you retire? What if healthcare costs continue to rise? What if you outlive your savings? If these questions keep you up at night, you're not alone. And you don't have to figure it out alone. I'm John Burdett with 4th Avenue Financial, and I specialize in retirement income planning. Let's turn your what-ifs into a plan you can count on. Schedule your free consultation today at 4thavenuefinancial.com. 4th Avenue Financial, retirement done right.
Securities offered through Jenny McCole Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Jenny McCole Advisors Incorporated.
Hey, this is Bobbie Spry, and last year we purchased a new HVAC system from Best Virginia Heating and Cooling. During the inspection of our old unit, their technician discovered a crack in the heat exchanger that was slowly leaking carbon monoxide into our home. From that moment on, we knew we chose the best technicians and the best service. Every technician is drug tested and background checked, giving our family peace of mind. When it comes to protecting your home and family, trust the best. Best Virginia Heating and Cooling.
The Husson's Pizza special for July. Buy any regular price, large 18-inch pizza and get a 2-liter bottle of any Pepsi product free. Visit your nearest Husson's for dine-in, pickup, or delivery. Order now at HussonsPizza.com.
Summer has arrived, but high school football season is coming soon to Metro News TV. Get the latest previews with Joe Bricato's Summer Tour, plus your favorite daily shows and State of Mind. Download the app on your smart TV or streaming device and get more information at WVMetroNewsTV.com. Metro News Television is powered by Dan Cava GMC, Gomart, Lou Wendell Marine, and Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Start your Saturday mornings at 7:06 with West Virginia Outdoors on 580 WCHS. Join Chris Lawrence as he explores the wonders of our state's great outdoors. From fishing to hiking, hunting to conservation, it's an adventure you don't want to miss.
Welcome back to the show. It is 9:23 on a Thursday morning. Senior producer Ryan Nicholson in charge of things this morning. Hey, our good friends at Logan Regional Medical Center celebrating their 100th anniversary with a free concert. It's absolutely free. Saturday, August the 8th, Logan Football Stadium. Gates open at 3 in the afternoon. Enjoy the music of Ricky Skaggs and Kentucky Thunder, America's Got Talent winner Landau Eugene Murphy Jr., the Davison Brothers Band, Del Nora, Motown Legends, the Voices of Classic Soul, featuring members of the Temptations, Four Tops, the Drifters, and more. Totally free. And there's going to be fireworks, all kinds of fun for the family, too. And I'm going to be down there serving as EMC, so I'm looking forward to it. You can check out Logan Regional's Medical Center page if you need more information about that. Guarantee Bank Hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. We have Kanawha County Commission President Ben Salango here. I want to switch gears here and talk about the change of the ambulance authority. Mm-hmm. Lance Wheeler, of course, this is what set up the previous conversation. Lance Wheeler resigning his position in the county commission to take over the directorship. I know you're not a spokesperson for them, but you are heavily involved in the board process. So how are things going?
It's actually going remarkably well. You know, when Lance was when we were approaching Lance about taking that job, and I'm on the Kanawha County Ambulance Authority board now. I was not back then, but I am now. I've only been on a month or two. But when we approached Lance about taking that job, you know, the thought was the two biggest issues for the Ambulance Authority, besides the PR issue that they were having, the two biggest issues, number one was budgetary, and number two was recruitment and retention. And so the goal was to get somebody who really understood budgets. And that's what an executive director should be capable of doing. You've got to have somebody that understands the money. They've got to understand how to cut expenses without sacrificing service. And so when we were looking at this, me and several other the board members, we thought, wait a minute, we need somebody that's very experienced in budgeting, and we also need a clinician. Like Jason Surgeon is he's just a great clinician. He understands logistics. He understands the operations of the Ambulance Authority, but necessarily the budgetary part was not his strong suit. So we thought if we can name Lance executive director to handle all the budget issues, to handle the personnel issues that were there, and then have Jason continuing, elevate him to deputy director and have him do all the logistical and operational and clinical things, then I think that it would work. So basically we took two people to make sure that the Ambulance Authority is improving. And what we've seen so far is, and Lance has only been there a couple of weeks, mm-hmm. He's already saving money. We're going to get revenues are going to be going up. Expenses are going down. He made some personnel decisions within 10 minutes of being in the office. The Elkview incident, there were still people there from that incident, and that changed. And then he made some other personnel decisions that were probably long overdue. And so I did not want Lance to run for state senate, and I've been very candid about that. I wanted him to stay on the county commission because he was an exceptional county commissioner. And when I heard that he was saying about running for state senate, I tried to talk him out of it. And because one of the reasons is he was so good with our budget. I mean, we have a $70+ million budget. Lance knew every dollar of everything. I mean, he could quote it. He could tell you exactly. We need somebody like that. And so that's exactly what the Ambulance Authority needed. So I thought it was a perfect fit.
Well, and I tend to agree with you because I think what happens is sometimes, and you can take any business in the world, and I know the ambulance service is not a business, but let's treat it like one for a moment. You're an attorney by trade, so I've heard. So you're an attorney by trade. It probably would be wise, I'm sure you do, to have somebody to run the business aspect of it, as opposed to you trying to litigate cases at the same time you're making sure your taxes are paid and so on and so forth. And that's what I said about that, is I said, because there's some pushback on social media and whatnot, people saying, well, why don't you, what does he know about being a paramedic? What does he know about being a first responder? I said, and I think a texter said this, and I stole it from him, was basically they needed an accountant. You got Jason that can handle that aspect of it.
Yep.
But what from what I've been told in my reading, the organization needed somebody to help with the figures.
The money,
and everything else will take care of itself.
And here's the goal,
personnel too.
Quite frankly. I mean, so if you look at the budgetary issues and if you look at recruiting and retention, one of the big issues is salaries. And so I will tell you, Lance Wheeler's goal is, if we can cut expenses, if we can increase revenues, then that money's going to flow. That money's going to the paramedics and the EMTs. So then that's going to help with your recruitment and retention problem. You want people to do this work, you got to pay them fairly. It is a hard job. There's no way in the world I would want to ride in the back of an ambulance and see what they see and deal with what they deal with. But to get people to do that, you have got to make sure that they're paid fairly. And, we have tasked Commissioner Wheeler with doing that. And that's what he's doing. We're going to make sure that they are paid fairly.
Talking again with Kanawha County Commission President Ben Salango. Any updates on the sports complex? Anything happened recently?
You know what? We've there hasn't been much going on the Capitol Sports Complex. We are still waiting to see what's going on with the mall. Of course, that's essentially stalled out. But we're going to wait and see what happens. And I will tell you that I'm as committed now as I was whenever we announced it. I think it's a great idea for all of Kanawha County. It's great for the city of Charleston. It's great for West Virginia. We've seen it time and time again. And you know how it's a good idea?
What's that?
Because now everybody else is trying to do it. We proved the Shawnee Sports Complex that you can spend some money and generate revenue from it. Not necessarily for the complex itself. Shawnee was designed to break even, but the goal was to bring people in and have them spend their money here. So then you get, businesses making money and hotels and restaurants and gas stations. That was the design of Shawnee. And I remember when I announced it in 2017, people thought I had lost my mind. And now guess what? They're opening up everywhere. People, the Eastern Panhandle, which was a, great idea for them. Opened one. You've got the indoor one up in Bridgeport. You've got, people are talking about opening one down in southern West Virginia. So it works, and it will work in downtown Charleston on a much larger scale when you're able to use the Capitol Sports Complex and also the Charleston, I still call it Civic Center, but the Convention Center together to host some of the biggest volleyball and basketball tournaments in the eastern United States. It'll work. And so we just got to get forward. We got to move forward on exactly what it will look like when you consider the issues with the mall.
Well, and I want to ask you about the mall, and I know this is, a conversation between the city of Charleston and the whole group, but there were talks several months ago that they were trying to work with them to get it basically turned over to the city. I know you're with the county, but you've been involved in conversations as well. Any updates there?
No, but Amy Goodwin is a hard charger, and she's not going to let that go away. She is, she knows that this will work. She knows what we need to happen to make it work, and I trust that she's going to get it done. And even if we can't get, a portion of the mall or all of the mall or whatever, we can still go back to the original thought, which was just make it a multi-level facility. It'll cost a little more money, but I think we could still do it, and it will still work. And so, I trust her if she's able to make that happen. But if not, she and I have a really good backup plan, which is the original plan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we had a text here, go back to the ambulance, that said, why aren't the ambulance authorities, city and county police and fire departments, and the Metro 911 dispatchers all covered under the same umbrella since they all work as a team?
What do they mean umbrella? They essentially are. They're both essentially county agencies. I mean, you've got Metro 911, the county commission appoints the board 911, the ambulance authority. We appoint the board to the ambulance authority. I think they do work very well together as a team, but I'm not sure what they mean by umbrella.
Financially, they just followed it up and said financially.
Each has a separate account. You know, the other thing too is if you put them all in one big account, and one's using more money than the other, and they feel like it's not just, you're going to have problems.
Yeah.
So they each they're a separate entity with separate accounts, and I think it would cause problems to have them all in as one.
I want to ask you about two things that have dominated the conversation over the last week or so in the world of talk radio and social media. Number one, flock cameras. You saw, have you ever been involved in a meeting that went 7 hours?
Like
the
Lord,
city.
No.
They got out of there at 4 a.m.
I saw that on the news, yeah.
The other morning in Huntington.
Wow.
So all this discussion about, flock cameras, I interviewed a mayor of Barbersville yesterday that was adamant about 100% you will never see those in the village of Barbersville. Granted, there's a big difference between Barbersville and the city of Huntington, and both mayors, I think, would agree with that. You have any comments on flock cameras or here in Kanawha County?
I think the government's watching us enough. I mean, with the cell phone, it's funny if I say something on my around my cell phone, as soon as I pull up social media or Google or whatever, there's an ad for exactly what I was talking about. So you know that it's listening. Now you can turn that off. You can go to your settings and turn
work.
It doesn't?
No, I have everything possible turned off on my phone.
And they still listen to you?
Microphone, location, and everything. And I'm not a paranoid kind of guy, conspiracy theory, but I'm telling you, it's a real thing.
In theory, you can turn it off. You can't turn flock cameras off. And I think that the government is watching us enough. We don't need municipalities and counties watching us more. And God only knows what they're going to do with that data. What if some big AI company or Google or Yahoo or Bing or somebody comes in and they offer that for that information? They give them a bunch of money, and then they justify it by saying, well, look how much revenue is coming into the county or the city because they're going to. And then all of a sudden they've got everything. They know what you're doing on your phone. They know what you're doing in your car. It's too much. And at some point we have to say, we have a Fourth Amendment. I mean, there's a reason why you're not subjected to unreasonable search and seizure. That's because, the framers and everybody that followed after said, we're not going to allow that anymore. We're not going to be in that type of country where the government's peeking into your bedroom windows. So I'm against it. I mean, I think it's a bad idea. I am 100% pro law enforcement. I think if you look at my track record as a county commissioner, I've always supported law enforcement. I've led the charge on numerous changes in the law, including recently for those convicted of first-degree murder. We were able to successfully, thank goodness for the House and the Senate and the governor for signing it, but we were able to increase the parole from 15-year minimum to 25-year minimum when you're dealing with an intentional first-degree murder. That was a good thing. So I've been very active in criminal justice, and specifically with respect to law enforcement. This is not pro-law enforcement. This is not. I disagree.
But the argument during the hearing was, but from the Huntington Police Chief Phil Watkins, he was really pushing this because he said we need this.
Well,
with all due respect to him, you would say what?
I disagree. I think that there's other ways to catch criminals without violating the Constitution. And in fact, you go back to some of the United States Supreme Court decisions where they're not allowed to pat and search people down. You can't look in glove compartments. You can't bust your way into somebody's house without a search warrant. There's a reason for all that. Now, any of those things you could say, well, but it's pro law enforcement. I needed to kick that door down. I needed to, jump in the glove box. But we have a constitution that prevents that. And there's only certain exceptions to that, imminent danger, or if the suspect is actively fleeing, you can go but you can't just show up at somebody's house and kick the door in and go in and search it. What's the difference between that and using a camera to search? Mm-hmm. And then what is next? Can they put them outside your house? Can they peek in your windows? Can they look over your fence into your backyard? Can they do all this? I mean, it's just at some point it's just too invasive.
All right, we had a text here, and maybe I'll ask you to put your attorney hat on for this one, okay? How are flock cameras legal when it's been determined in court that red light cameras have been ruled unconstitutional?
Well, and that's the other thing is, I think the basis of that was the constitutional requirement that you be able to confront your accusers, and if you're driving through a red light and a camera takes a picture of it, then perhaps it's not, you're not able to confront your accuser because it's just a camera. And I think that was the basis of it. And Harvey Payton and was here earlier. We should ask him. He understands criminal law much better than I do. But I agree. I think it is absolutely unreasonable. I think it's unconstitutional. I think it's invasive. It's exactly what our Constitution and its amendments were designed to prevent.
I want to ask you about data centers because, I mean, the last 2 weeks, it's been flock cameras and data centers.
I've been getting a lot of calls about it.
So where are you on data centers overall?
Well, so the legislature passed a bill that essentially takes, I don't want to say all authority, but most substantive authority away from counties and municipalities. So it's going to be in the lap of the state. And most of the tasks that the municipalities and the counties are going to be assigned are going to be ministerial. It's not going to be any significant. I would not be able to say I'm going to pass a county ordinance banning data centers or banning any type of commercial business that uses this amount of water or any type of commercial business that uses this amount of electricity. So essentially, they've taken that authority away, and they did that, and I've been on the county commission now for 10 years, and I watch, them passing bills that's taking power away from the counties and municipalities. But they did that they needed consistency. Mm-hmm. They wanted to make sure that Putnam County and Cabell County and Kanawha County was doing the same thing that Berkeley and Mon and all the other counties were doing, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to have consistent results. I get that. I don't necessarily like it when the state's kind of peeking into our window, and saying, we're going to do this and you're not allowed to object to it. That's fine. But as a concept, I think most data centers, there'll be a lot of jobs in the beginning, construction jobs. And then once the construction's over, and I'm all for that, once the construction's over, there's probably not that many permanent jobs, usually 30 or 40. If you've got a massive data center, it's going to be 100. And then you have to look at the toll that it's taking. The fact that many of them use millions of gallons of water per day. Many of them use more electricity than probably the county times 3 would use in a particular month. So you've got to look at those costs. And the legislature has decided that they're going to weigh that and make those decisions. And so I think it is a difficult balance. The last thing I want to do is get in a situation where we're dominated by, some big conglomerate again, only to leave us holding the bag with pollution and, terrible water and, all these other things. So, I think it's going to be a balance for the legislature to determine, and the state, not just but the state, to determine where they go and at what cost. Before we let you go, I had another text about the flock cameras. Okay? Yes.
It's not the government, says the texter, operating flock cameras. It's a private company. They then sell the info to the government. So why does a private company get to install cameras all over? They're the only ones now. What about their competitors? Is the end result cameras all over or companies surveilling their regions of the country?
Yeah, I don't think that a company can necessarily do it without government participation. I don't think that I could go out on Capitol Street and put a camera out and just videotape people coming up and down and peeking into their cars and enter it into some AI model for facial recognition. So there has to be cooperation from the government, and either the government's paying them or they're paying the government, one or the other. But under the guise of, this is good for criminal, apprehension, we're going to be able to catch more criminals that way. I think that's bogus. I think it's a false argument, and maybe it will work, but that doesn't mean it's constitutional. There's a lot of things we can do that will work if you really want to cut down on crime. Yeah. But we have a constitution for a reason. And I know a lot of people just get hung up on one or two amendments, but there are a whole bunch of them, and we need to honor them all.
Kanawha County Commission President Ben Salango. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
It's 19 minutes away from 10. I invite you to join me every Friday morning, 9:06, for the Adopt Me Please Pet of the Week from the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association, brought to you by Almost Heaven Interiors, family owned, proudly serving the community for over 50 years. They specialize in custom blinds, shades, shutters, upholstery, and beautifully crafted sewn goods from homes to hospitals, classrooms to commercial spaces. They do it all, located at 516 D Street in South Charleston. You may want to stick around, Salango, because we're going to talk art next. And when you think art, you think Ben Salango and Dave Allen.
No, you don't. You don't think that at all.
All right. We're going to talk about Art Walk with Joel Bennett and our own Bobbie Spry when we come back at the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses have been creating jobs in West Virginia since 1997.
At Poca Valley, your savings deserve Simply More. The Simply More Money Market is designed for people who want growth, flexibility, and convenient access to their money when they need it most. Whether you're building your savings or planning for the future, Poca Valley is here to help you make the most of every dollar. Ready to learn more? Visit PocaValleyBank.com, call 844-782-2651, or stop into your nearest Poca Valley branch today. At Poca Valley, relationships matter. Member FDIC.
Have you ever dreamed of a project that seemed impossible? Wondered who could bring it to life with precision and care? At Jared Construction, they don't just build, they craft futures. From historic restorations to cutting-edge designs, they have been your trusted partner since 1999. Whether it's an auto dealership, apartment complex, sports complex, or church addition, Jared Construction has you covered. See more at jared-construction.com. WV030133.
Right on time, right on budget. Call on Jared Construction.
Did you know the United States once doubled in size almost overnight? In 1803, the Louisiana Purchase added more than 800,000 square miles. That decision opened the door to westward expansion, a bold decision that defined a nation. Hi, this is David McCormick, and this America 250 fact is from Omega Commercial Interiors, featuring OFS brands, quality office furniture made right here in America. Remember, buy American, buy local, and buy Omega. We're a proud West Virginia company.
According to Feeding America, over 7 million seniors nationwide were food insecure in 2022. West Virginia is no different. Hi, I'm Jason, President and CEO of Union Mission Ministries. For 113 years, Union Mission has focused on helping people in need. Right now, our senior citizens need our help. That is why Union Mission is partnering with local senior living facilities to get food delivered directly to those in need. Will you help us reach more seniors? Visit unionmission.com to learn more.
That's the sounds of the official band of a Dave Allen show, Amos Steele. If you've got an event coming up, give him a ring. Just go to Facebook and find them. Amos Steele. They do Southern rock. They do blues, a little bit of everything. Molly Hatchet meets, what did they say? Molly Hatchet meets Black Sabbath is how they describe themselves. So go check them out. Hey, this Saturday, the WCHS Network, V100, The Beat, Mountain Superstar Country, KWS, KEZ, all of our stations are going to be at Trojan Landing Marina Power Sports for the grand finale of our Ride and Riches contest. We're going to see who's going to win that new Segway UT6M machine and $1,000 in cash. But now we are contacting all of the finalists to let them know to be there, because you have to be there in person this Saturday at 10 a.m. But because we're basically giving away all kinds of other cool stuff as well, even if you're not a finalist, come out there and join us live on the parking lot starting at 10 a.m. Again, all of our stations are going to be there. Somebody's going to win that Segway and $1,000 in cash and some other cool prizes as well. And Sean Hardman from Trojan Landing is going to join us on the show tomorrow to talk about it. All right, I want to talk a little art right now, something I know way too little about. We got Joel Bennett from is in the studio, and our own Bobbie Spry, who's artsy in her own right. They're both with us here today. How you doing, guys?
I'm a fan of art.
I'm doing great.
Just a fan of art, and you are the guy here to talk about Art Walk, Joel.
Yeah, I'm helping with Art Walk today. I think that it's important to get the word out, so I appreciate you having me on here.
All right, so what do people, you hear that thrown out about Art Walk. It's gone on for a long time. What exactly happens at these things?
So Art Walk is every third Thursday from 5 to 8 p.m. There's a lot of different stores downtown that'll get together, and they all kind of have their own thing. There'll be music or some snacks or some special setup, or sometimes it's just about shopping downtown. But we try to make it as much lively as we can, to get people out and just enjoy, have a good time, spend a little money, have a good time.
All right. But from the art aspect of it.
Well, you feature a different artist each time, and whether you're an art venue or you're just a lawyer, or, you want to feature your office, a lot of people will have an artist that they'll bring in and feature their artwork on the wall. You can, or some people will get vendors and they'll get a permit from the city and they'll set up either out front or inside. But it's about showcasing, all the different artists. So there could be potentially, dozens and dozens of artists out, whether it be on the street, on Capitol Street, or, right in front of each one of those businesses, or inside. And then also having some music as well.
It's a great vibe. Downtown. Bobbie, you've been a part of it for a long time. For people that have never been to it, it's just the way that Joel described it. In front of the businesses, there's art set up. A lot of the stores are taking part in it. That's what it's all designed to do. The art's great, but it's all designed to get people to go to those places and to eat in those restaurants and to go in those stores.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think we started going back in 2015 when I was at West Virginia Executive Magazine. And shout out to Kinsey and Brett, who actually introduced the event to me and became a huge fan. I have pictures going back 10 years of myself and Savannah, my oldest daughter, walking around. And it's been a great connector for me personally, because that's how I've got to know a lot of the business owners, because Charleston is so small. The connectivity, they say, is 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon. So the vibes are great. We're really trying to bring it back to its heyday when the streets were crowded. You can walk into a lot of these businesses and shop local, help support the artists in our area. A lot of them have snacks set up, and with POTA enforced in Charleston. Now, I think people are a lot happier when they're sipping on a beverage. It makes the spending happen a little bit more easily. So we want to make sure everyone knows that Art Walk is up and running in full force, and it will be tonight from 5 to 8.
All right, talk about the actual footprint, guys, of where this is in Charleston for the most part. It's all over, but where's the most activity going to be?
Yeah, the main 3 streets is usually from Hale Street, Courier Street, Capitol Street. But that can go over to Summers a little bit around there, and also can go all the way down Courier Street over to where Courier Diner is.
All right, I do want to mention that on one of our sister station, 98.7 A Mountain, Wild and Wonderful Classic Rock, we are going to be live at 5th Street tonight, as we are. So Steve Animal's going to be there starting at 6 for a thing we call Thirsty Thursday. So venture on in there, enjoy some great food and beverage with the folks at 5th Street, just one of the many businesses that's a part of this.
Yeah, I think it's important that as many businesses get involved as possible, because that's how you're going to have, more advertising. Everyone can advertise on their own, just even if just a Facebook
or they
post.
Can buy ads on the radio.
True. But yeah, so it's important to have a good bit of synergy going on. And if somebody needs help with, we've launched a new website, artwalkwv.com, and that's where people can find out more information about it. If they want to get signed up, or if for a business they want to be signed up, there's forms on there that you can fill out, and we'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, and also Joel is happy to help connect you with an artist if you'd like to host an artist in your business. He does have a list of those, and we do always encourage to having some form of entertainment if your space allows. It's exciting. You get to go out and see a lot of people that you know, and you are supporting our community when you shop local.
All right. Talk about that website before we let you go, or your social media where people can go on to learn more specifically about the event tonight, Joe.
Yeah. The website's artwalkwv.com, and the Facebook is artwalkwv. Yeah. So both of those places, that's where you'll find updates. We'll go around and take pictures of the event during the time too, to let people know what's going on. But if there's somebody who wants to reach out, they have questions, comments, there's a ton of information. A lot of people were worried about parking. They're not from here. They don't come downtown. There's all that information's on there as well. Who has free parking after 5, what garages to go to. So we really try to get as much information as possible on there on the FAQ page.
Okay. Bobbie, appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave.
Go back to work. Go sell something to pay my bloated salary now. Okay, would you?
I will work on that.
All right. And Joel, I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks so much for the shout out here. This is great.
Thanks a lot. 9:51. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Morgan & Morgan. With more than $20 billion recovered, they believe that when you're injured, you deserve more. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses are small businesses with big impact, including Generations Physical Therapy and Snap Fitness.
People sometimes may wonder why they need a big law firm after their injury. Imagine you're on your way to work, and then, bam, your whole life changes. Life can be shattered in a moment. When that happens, know that America's largest injury law firm is here for you. When it comes to law, size matters. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Office 222 Capitol Street, Charleston. Cases will be handled by West Virginia licensed attorneys. The attorney in this ad is not licensed in West Virginia.
Hi, I'm Julie Wilkins, a designer at Civil and Environmental Consultants. CEC was my first choice when I wanted to return to West Virginia to work and be closer to family. As a designer using AutoCAD and ArcGIS, I collaborate across all departments on diverse projects. CEC is employee-owned with over 30 offices nationwide and 3 right here in West Virginia. We provide top-notch engineering solutions. At CEC, we engineer progress in the great state of West Virginia.
Find out what CEC can do for you. Visit cecinc.com.
Hey, this is Bobbie Spry, and last year we purchased a new HVAC system from Best Virginia Heating and Cooling. During the inspection of our old unit, their technician discovered a crack in the heat exchanger that was slowly leaking carbon monoxide into our home. From that moment on, we knew we chose the best technicians and the best service. Every technician is drug tested and background checked, giving our family peace of mind. When it comes to protecting your home and family, trust the best. Best Virginia Heating and Cooling.
Charleston, there's a new bank in town, but it's built on something timeless: relationships. Guarantee Bank is now open on the Boulevard, bringing community banking back to the Kanawha Valley. We're local decision makers, real people, and a team that understands West Virginia business. Whether you're growing your company, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Stop by our new Charleston branch at 1320 Kanawha Boulevard and experience banking the way it should be. Guarantee Bank, where community comes first.
Six away from 10, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Huston's Pizza. The July special: buy any regularly priced large 18-inch pizza and get a 2-liter bottle of any Pepsi product for free. Check out your nearest Huston's Pizza for delivery, dine-in, or pick up at HustonsPizza.com. Rest of the show, what's left of it is yours. Guarantee Bank Hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text, 304-935-5008. And as I mentioned, our sister station, 98.7 A Mouth and Wild and Wonderful Classic Rock, along with the semi-legendary Steve Animal, will be doing Thursday tonight at 5th Street. Stop by and say hi to Steve and the crew. And by the way, happy birthday to the Mountain. Our little experiment in the world of classic rock turns 3 years old tomorrow. It is hard to believe that they've allowed us to do this, because I'm a big part of that as well. Not a big part of it. I take pictures for the Mountain, but we have a great time with it. Myself and Shockley and Hollywood Jeff Petty and Jeff Snyder, and of course the semi-legendary Steve Animal as well. And I do want to mention that tomorrow is live on the Levee, of course, and the Mountain will be live for that tomorrow. I'm looking forward to this. It is a Led Zeppelin tribute with the great John Ingram, and that is coming up tomorrow. And by the way, tomorrow on this show, as we always do at 9:20 every Friday morning during the Live on the Levee season, we talk about the performance that night. Jim Strawn, the jet setter that he is going to be in studio tomorrow. Semi-legendary Steve Animal will stop by, and John Ingram will be here tomorrow to talk about it as well. I am definitely looking. John Ingram, to be honest, I'm a big John Ingram mark. He could probably do 3 different versions of Happy Birthday, and they would be good. But he's going to be in charge of the things tomorrow night. Natalie Brooks is going to be there as well, live on the Levee, brought to you by Moses Auto Group, 6:30 tomorrow night. And again, it is Mountain night, and so we are definitely looking forward to that. Also on the show tomorrow, we've been talking about our this promotion we're doing with the folks at Trojan Landing, this Ride and Riches thing. We're going to give away this Segway UTV and $1,000 in cash. Sean Hardman from Trojan Landing is going to stop by the show tomorrow. Also, As we do every Friday, we try to get a pet adopted on the Adopt Me Please Pet of the Week. Angie Gillenwater from the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association will join us to talk about that. That is all coming up on tomorrow's show. Did I cover it all? I think, because we got Live on the Levee, 5th Street tonight, and then all of our stations on Saturday starting at 10 a.m. will be at Trojan Landing Marina Power Sports. That's one of those events where we're all going to be there. Myself and Animal from the Mountain will be there. Folks from V100 are going to be there, KWS, and we just have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun with those big events like that. Coming up later today, Metro News Midday, 13 News, and Tonight Live anchor Amanda Barron and me, powered by Salango Law. Jeff Jenkins has the news. TJ Meadows is going to stop by. There is an interesting story out of Mingo County, and it involves a very controversial addiction. I don't know if I should call it recovery center, addiction services, whatever. It's kind of an inpatient facility, which is all well and good. All of us know people that have gone through those things, and God bless people wanting to try to get better. But the problem in talking to a concerned resident down there yesterday is the location of this particular thing. And well, I'll tell you, I'll just let her explain it, because she did a proposal, she spoke during a public comment of a recent Mingo County Commission meeting, and her name is Ashley Irwin, and she and other residents are they're not trying to run the place out of business, they're just concerned about the way it's being operated now. And so she's going to join us during the 2 o'clock hour to talk about that. Also, if you've been following this race in northern West Virginia, north central West Virginia for the House, and it's come down to a separation of 6 votes. It was determined yesterday that Tim McNeely was able to knock off the incumbent in that race. Tim McNeely is going to join us on the show today. Brad McElhenney is going to stop by. And, of course, Open Line West Virginia. Metro News Midday, 13 News, and Tonight Live anchor Amanda Barron and me, powered by Salango Law, coming up at noon today. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Pinnacle Consultants. When environmental questions come up in a building, Pinnacle provides clear answers. They specialize in asbestos, lead, mold, indoor air quality issues, accredited lab testing based right here in West Virginia. Check out more, pinnaclecorp.net, helping you understand your environment, because what you don't know can't hurt you. Mr. TJ Meadows stops by right now. Did you hear my conversation with County Commissioner Ben Salango earlier, TJ?
Yeah, get the flock out of here.
Did you hear? I mean, you and him are pretty much on the same page on this.
We're lockstep.
Yeah.
Look, if Chris Rose and I agree on something.
And I brought this up on the show yesterday, Meadows. This is what's interesting to me about this this discussion over these flock cameras is the far right. Well, no, I don't even say far. I'll just say the right and the left are together.
The center
on this.
Everybody's on this.
But somehow it got passed by Huntington City Council, and it got passed by Republicans and Democrats. It was bipartisan passage and bipartisan issues.
I mean, maybe some members of Huntington City Council don't value the Constitution. That's the only conclusion I can draw.
All right, quickly, what you got on the show today?
We'll talk with Tia Rumbaugh. She's on City Council in Huntington. We'll talk about this issue with the flock cameras. Hoppy joins us at 11:06 with his commentary. Putnam County Commissioner Andy Skidmore on that Google data center as proposed in Buffalo. He's been up to New Albany and checked it out. We'll find out what's going on with that.
All right, the Dave Allen Show brought to you in part by Generations Ford of Hurricane. Visit generationsford.com. See you later today. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM, W243DRFM Charleston, and W283AQ Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.